All right, now look. I hope you're doing okay. I hope you're all right. I want to tell you something real quick. We got a little bit of time. If you're on Facebook, if you're on social media, if you're somewhere and you're still complaining about how an election was stolen and about how there are Marxists running around ruining America, whatever that means. If you're still complaining about conspiracy theories that are 4, 5, 6 years well past their window, I kind of feel sorry for you. Because unlike those times where it's somebody, barking at the moon, thinking that there's something way off, really strange, really crazy, it's just kind of sad. It's just kind of sad. I was thinking about that because about 5 minutes ago, I was brushing my teeth and I was waiting for the mouthwash to mouthwash. And I look over and I look at Facebook, which is always a mistake. But I look at Facebook and some people I've known for 20 years are still just cringingly vocal about shit that is about 6 years out of date. And I don't understand. I thought they had a brain in their head. I really did. I was thinking about that. It has no bearing on the rest of the night. It just surprised me that, that shit's still coming up. We haven't moved on to new things, different things, better things. No? Okay. All right. Well, what we're going to do instead is we're going to move on to something better. We're going to move forward. We're going to do what they can't seem to do and not dwell in the past. We're going to try and do some things. So let's get started, shall we?
All right. Just remember what I've taught you.
What the fuck is that?
Hey, yo.
Let's go while we're young.
I just, you ever have one of those days where it starts off real low? You start, where's my camera? I'm over here. It starts off real low, starts way down, and you're thinking to yourself oh man, I don't know what we're going to make of today. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. I don't know how I'm going to make it through. You ever have one of those days? I started out today. I got to tell you right now, flat out, no lie, I was seriously thinking this morning over breakfast around 6, 7 o'clock this morning. I was seriously thinking about hanging it all up and going and applying. There's a grocery store not too far from here. Going and applying for an overnight stocking job, just to pay the bills, just to have some kind of work, just to have something to do, because I've really been struggling mentally. I've really been struggling financially. I've really been struggling in a lot of different ways. And I just thought, man, if I just had something stable, if I just had something good, then I wouldn't feel like this. I wouldn't feel like I'm down here. I'd feel like I'm heading uphill, And so I go to the gym and I go to therapy, and it's not good. Like, the gym's the gym, It's chest and back day, so I do the best I can. I'm feeling pretty physically good about it. I go to therapy. Therapy's not good. Therapy's a mess. It was tough. It was hard. A lot of personal confrontation, a lot of difficulty like that. You ever have days like that? You go to therapy and all of a sudden you're just like, oh my God, and you're kind of bowled over by just how rough you seem some days. And I come back. I come out of that this morning, and I'm greeted to a Twitter thread. Now, normally, I've been kind of staying off Twitter because it's been depressing, for lack of a better word. But I come back to this Twitter thread where one of my dear friends, one of my dearest friends in the whole wide world, somebody who I think the world of and is quite special to me, is talking to somebody else who I admire, who I don't really know. And she's telling him, oh, you know, if there was, because he's having some trouble just, you know, needing a pick-me-up, needing some support. I can understand that. I'm the same way. And she's saying, oh, well, you got to go talk to John. If you know, John does this, you know, he's amazing. He's super supportive. He should offer this as a thing. He should offer, like, he does this so well and he does this so much. It should be his side hustle. Now, I'm all for a good hustle, side or otherwise, but I think it was meant to be, you know, haha, wouldn't it be funny, John, if you did it? But I was sitting there and I'm at the bottom of my day and I'm really like thinking, I got the email to my clients half written at the time, like, look, guys, I don't know what's going on. This has been real rough. Things are getting hard. You know, I'm halfway through contemplating hanging it all up. And she says this thing about, hey, John, you're one of the most supportive people I know. You're one of the people who, like, I go to when I need a boost, and you're real good at boosting and motivating and stuff, which is weird because I feel terrible. So, you know, it's always easier, I guess, some days to boost others, and it's hard on yourself. So I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's just jump out of the plane. Let's just take a leap and see what happens. Let's give it a try. And so I put it up on the scheduler. You can go check it out. If you don't know the scheduler, by the way, if you ever hear me talk about that, it's johnhelpsyouwritebetter.as.me. No, I got that backwards. No, that's right. as.me. Or you can just go to johnhelpsyouwritebetter.com and go to book an appointment right at the top of the page. It'll take you right to it. Or you can go jump on Twitter. It's the pinned post, Twitter/awesome_John. And I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? I should also make this a Patreon tier. So if you look, where is it? It's here. No, here. It's here. There's a new $20 tier. If you sign up, I'm excited about this. I feel good about this. I don't have a Twitter command. I knew I forgot something. Damn it. It's crazy, but I do have a Patreon. Haha. I knew I had a Patreon command. So if you go over there for the $20 tier, you can every week you're going to get 3 things. In addition to all my usual Patreon stuff, you're going to get 3 things from me every week. You're going to get an email that's going to do my best to pick you up, move you forward, get you. Oh, it did work? Awesome. Get you moving forward, get you thinking, get you believing, get you doing, get you hoping, get you forward. You're going to get audio, doing much the same thing, but I got to tell you, honestly, a little bit of production value is going into the audio because I like audio, and I feel good doing audio. So you'll get some audio, also designed to pick you up, get in your ear, get your feet moving, get your soul stirred up, get you making, get you doing, get you hoping, get you planning, get you going. And also, lastly, all for $20 a month. You get a free 30-minute appointment where I will sit there and cheerlead the living shit out of you. Try me. It's free. Go ahead. Try me. I think I can help. I want to help you write better. I want to help you do better. I want everybody to do better. So that's what I'm offering now. I'm super excited about it. I'm super happy about it. This changed the trajectory of not only my whole day, but like the next 10 days. I sat down and I was like, oh my God, people like this idea. That's crazy to me. Well, now I got to capitalize. Now success builds on success, right? So now I got to capitalize. Let's take a look and see what's coming. Well, I've got some really great Patreon stuff coming. I've got a decently terrible vampire movie. I'm going to do Godfather 3 as a bonus over the weekend. We're going to do the next Top Gun movie because that just hit streaming today. I just did House of Dragon. Like, we're doing some work over there on Patreon, and I'm excited again, and it feels good. And I'm really thrilled. And also, I'm really thrilled to be here tonight with you guys, because it really does mean the world to me. This is good, and I'm happy. And we're going to have a hell of a night. There are some fantastic, truly fantastic questions tonight. I'm still getting over this camera. I'm still trying to figure out just how wide and where to move it. It's a little bit better than it was. I fixed some of the lighting issues. It's still really bright to me, but that's just me. But yeah, we're going well. We're doing well. Things are good. I think we should just begin, shall we? I think we should just get started. Let's get started. Ladies and gentlemen, guys, gals, non-binary pals, friends, writers, makers, doers, dreamers, hopefuls, planners, hand talkers, nacho cheese enthusiasts, water sippers, sleepers, headache specialists, mushroom enjoyers, anybody who's ever really just gone after they take their shoes off, anybody who can appreciate a really, really nice hot shower, enthusiasts for cocoa and snacks, anybody who likes breakfast for dinner, and most importantly, the comrades. Welcome to the Writers Chat for August the 24th, and I, through no fault of my own, continue to be John, the guy who's going to help you write better. It's so nice to see you. It's so nice to have you here. And if you have no idea what we're doing here, if this is totally new to you, here's what we do. For the last 7 days, really 8 days, I've been collecting questions from all manner of social media from all across everywhere, and I've got a dozen or so of them. I'm going to answer those questions straight up, no problem, no cap, no issue. I'm also going to answer the questions of those people in chat. Hi, chat. How are you? I hope you're well. It's good to see you. So I'm going to answer their questions if they have any, and I'm going to answer these 12 questions. And if you, watching this on YouTube in the future, have any questions, leave them down there in the comments. I swear to you, I do answer them. So, yeah, it'll be a good time. Let's get going, shall we? On to the first question. Also, new background. It's okay. So funny story on the background. I had to fix it to make room for the new graphics, right? And in the course of arranging it, I deleted the old one and I can't find it. I think it's just because it's labeled as background 6 or background 8 or background whatever. So I had to make a new one. So new background. Here we go. First question though. John, what role does people watching play in writing? And I thought to myself, man, this is a really straightforward question. Why is this going first? Why is this a big deal? There are deeper questions. There are spicier questions tonight. Why is this one going first? Here's exactly why this is going first. Because the person who asked me is a notorious person watcher who doesn't write. They talk about writing. They talk about how one day they're going to, clear out this side bedroom, this guest room in their house. They're going to clear this out, set up a desk, and they're going to somehow turn into a writing factory. They've been planning this book for years. They've been planning this idea for years, but they never seem to do it. And I know they're listening. But they never seem to do it. But they do a lot of people watching, and they talk a lot about who they interact with and who they see at work and who they see here and who they see there. And look, here's why you want to people watch. Because you can start to see in humans of all shapes, of all flavors, of all identities, of all everythings, you can see character traits in them, and you can incorporate them into the made-up people you make. Your fabricated humans can share. Oh, wait, other people have a hella cluttered. Look, have you seen this fucking room, Jay? It's a goddamn mess. I think we all have a metaphorical or a literal cluttered guest bedroom. I tried cleaning mine, and then I found out that, oh no, my brother is coming. So I have to put everything. It's a mess. Anyway, people watching enables you to make better characters. Because you will see traits in other people. You will see the way they interact, and you will say to yourself, how would I explain that to somebody else? That thing that lady said at the grocery store where she was really upset about her coupon, how would I express that to somebody else who wasn't there? How would I text my friend that? Holy shit, you won't fucking believe what just happened over at the Kroger. that kind of translation from observation to production is fundamental to your creativity. There is no earthly way to get better at writing characters without first observing humans. The nice thing is you don't have to interact with them. You can just sit there and stare, and it'll be just fine. But pay attention. Take notes. Do the best you can to observe. What are they doing? Why do you think you're doing it? What kind of face would you describe that as? What's this look? What are they doing with their hands? Just think about it. Just take it apart. Just break it down for a hot minute. It'll be fine. But that's how you want to get really good at making characters that feel like people. Go look at people. Go see how they're interacting with their world and see what you can crib, see what you can steal, see what you can take from that and put it into your made-up stuff. It will make a difference. It will make a difference. People watching is paramount. More so than thinking up a plot, more so than spending hours daydreaming and masturbating about how great your fantasy world is and how smart and clever you are and all that. Pay attention to people. It will change the way you write because it'll give you more colors. It'll give you more descriptors. It'll give you more adjectives. It'll give you more phrases. It'll give you different ways to incorporate different things. Oh, I like the way that person said that shitty thing. So when I write a shitty character, I know what to take. Things like that. It really does matter. You're trying to grow your toolbox. You're trying to expand as much as possible. And people all around you, and people are fascinating. As individuals, absolutely fascinating. As collectives, kind of garbagey. But hey, you know what? Everybody's got something. And there's something you can learn from every situation and every person. You just got to know where to look for it. That's why people watching is critical. And that's why this question went first tonight. Good stuff. You know what? Have some air horns. Why don't we go to question 2? Oh, the spicy question showed up. John, what separates great writing from okay writing? Oh, boy. All right. Now, originally, I got to tell you, this question was supposed to be like number 9. No. We're doing it number 2. We're going to get in it. Here we go. Truly great writing. I don't care what genre it is. I don't care what tense it's written in. I don't care what kind of story it's written in. But genuinely great writing is the writing that affects somebody beyond just giving them an ability to imagine. Because you can read a story. You can read a story and have a very clear picture in your head as to what's going on. Okay, so the lady goes here, she does this, that guy, he does this, the car goes this way, the plane goes that way, the clouds come here, the birds are over there. Like, you can picture it, and that's good. We want that. But you want more than that. You need more than that. If you want your work to stand on the shelf next to all those other things that we say are like, hey, if you want good writing, if you want an amazing book, go read this book. If you want your book up in that list, you got to understand that great writing moves people beyond just entertainment. It speaks to theme. It takes risks. It evokes emotion. It draws things out of people. It leads them to feel things. It makes your made-up stuff feel so real, so tangible, that you have an emotional response. When that made-up character is possibly in danger, you feel genuine worry. When your made-up character finally overcomes their big obstacle, you genuinely cheer. It's not enough just to read the words and see the thought in your head. That's fine, and that's great. But if you want to become great, you want to take that next step up, you need to push into that realm where you're trying to draw those emotions out of people. And how you do that, how you get there, it's not just word choice. It's not just knowing that, oh, some sentences need to be shorter and some other sentences need to be longer, and some paragraphs need to be shorter and some paragraphs need to be longer. It's not just the clunky mechanics of it. It's a fundamental understanding that you need to choose the words and organize them in such a way that it strikes a chord with someone, but you don't know who. You don't know which one of your readers, whether you have 10 readers, 1,000 readers, 1,000,000 readers, you don't know which one is going to be the one that's moved. And you can't demand, hey, Kevin, it's your turn. You're the one to be moved. No, you can't. Yeah, paragraphs can be any size they want, Jay. You can't pick and choose which reader gets moved, and you can't make a blanket statement and say all of them get moved, because shit doesn't work like that. But what you can do, what you can make an effort to do, is clearly take a risk and write with confidence. Confidence and certainty that what you're writing is the best you can do. And you got to have a little bit of hope, got to have a little bit of faith. Jump out on that limb and go, all right, I've done this to the best of my ability. Somebody out there somewhere is going to be moved by this. I know it. I feel it. I don't question that. I might question how to use a semicolon. I might question if I've got one too many M dashes up in here. But I know for a fact that I wrote my guts out. They're on the page right there, right across the line. I know flat out I did my best. And if you're able to do that, and you're able to evoke emotion and paint that mental picture, your writing goes from okay to great. Publishers everywhere will tell you up and down, they're always looking for the next great novel. They're looking for the next great selling thing, the next piece of great commerce. Don't deal with that. You don't want to get involved there. Don't worry about that. Good sales are a consequence, a natural response to great writing. Just write well, write with confidence, write with purpose. Speak your dedication, speak your soul, put it all out there, and it'll work. Really, truly. But great writing is the stuff that not only paints a picture, but it moves you, it affects you. Okay writing is just a really good story. Oh, okay, that's really imaginative. Oh, that's really a neat idea. It's flat. It's all up here and not down here. It's all in your head and not in your gut. It's the sense of like, oh, that was really well written. Good job, person. Pat on the head, pat on the head. It's not the same as, oh my God, this book was incredible. I've got really swept up in it, and I really want to feel good the way I felt when I read that book. It moves you. It makes a difference. That's the great writing. That's what great writers do. You can get there, but you got to move with confidence, and you got to move with education, and you have to move with talent and effort and discipline and a little bit of luck. But you can get there. I think anybody can get there. They just got to be willing to work. Awesome. Awesome. Have more air horns. Question. Oh my God, another spicy one. I got to get a mouthful of water. I'm sorry. I brushed my teeth and now I got dry mouth like you would not believe. I tried really hard to hydrate, not on camera. I'm sorry. Somebody actually gave me a comment about like, hey, don't drink on camera. Dude, I just brushed my teeth. Sorry. All right. Here we go. Question number 3. What are 3 habits a writer should develop? You know how hard it is to narrow it down to 3? But all right, it's all right. All right, we're going to narrow it down to 3. Here we go. 3 habits a writer should develop. 1, you must work hard. You must whole-ass things. It's real tempting to half-ass some days. People get real upset about drinking on camera. I don't know. All right, back to these 3 habits, right? 1, you got to whole ass. You got to put everything you got in it every time you can do it. I know some days aren't your best. Some days are not. I'm not talking about production. I'm not talking like every day you got to write 600 words. I could give a shit. And no one cares how many words you wrote. Doesn't matter if you wrote 1 page, 2 page, 10 pages, 1,000 words, 5,000 words, a whole fucking chapter, or a sentence. What matters is that on the particular day, with whatever energy you had, with whatever focus you had, with whatever patience you had, with whatever ability you had, you did your best. You got to work hard every day. That's habit number 1. Habit number 2, stop. Really make an effort to stop comparing yourself as much as possible to all the people and all the things that you compare yourself to. That's a real hard one. That is, as they say in the business, a motherfucker. It's tough to do because you got to go out there and you look and see, oh, well, this person's got a book out 2 months later after the last one. Oh, they just signed this big deal. Oh, my God, look at this. Oh, they optioned that for a TV show. Wow, this person seems to be selling better. Oh, that person has a cooler website. Over and over. Ba, 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 ba. A million things you can compare yourself to. You want that second habit? You really want to get good at this? Compare less. Because half the things you're thinking about, half the things you're comparing, don't matter. It doesn't matter if they have a nicer website. It doesn't matter if their books are out 3 times faster than yours. It literally has no import on what you're doing. I don't care if you're both writing rom-coms and it's rom-com season and you're trying to get it out for Valentine's Day. I don't care. I don't care if you're writing the same goddamn premise. It doesn't matter what those other people are doing because you're not doing this for them. You're doing this for you and your audience and your goals. Other people have their own goals. They're doing their own thing. You need to do your own thing. My glasses keep sliding down. I keep tilting my head. It's a real bad habit. Probably bring that up in therapy at some point. Anyway, moving on, because you're just going to see me adjust my glasses all goddamn night. Because I'm also like, just in a mood. Here we go. Third thing. So first thing, work hard. Second thing, try to compare less. Third thing. Here we go. Third thing. I need you to stop worrying about being judged. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yes, somebody out there is going to hate what you write. There might be multiple somebodies out there who hate what you write. The person who hates what you write might be your mother or your spouse or your child or your best friend or the person you have a crush on or 10 people 2 states away or people half a globe away. There might be some number of people who hate what you do. Don't let that stop you. Don't let it stop you. You didn't do it for them, right? You didn't sit down and go, gosh, I'm going to write this book with the intention of making sure a number of people hate me. That's a weird thing to say. Nobody thinks like that. What you need to do is not worry about them. They don't know you. They don't know what it's like for you. They don't get up every Tuesday and go, oh, it's Tuesday, here we go. Like they don't live your life. Why are you giving them this much attention? What did they do to be so special that you take your time and energy and put it on them? They don't like you. They're not going to like you. You're not going to persuade them. They're not going to change their mind. Trying to change their mind and go, golly gee, I'm a really good writer, you guys, doesn't matter. Because you could prove it. You could be demonstrably a much better writer over time. They can still choose free will to not like it. Don't worry about being judged. You're going to put your stuff out there. You're going to get traditionally published. They're going to reject you. It happens. They don't know you. They're just looking at what you handed them. The thing you made. The query letter. They're just looking at the query. They're just looking at the pitch. They're just looking at the this. They're just looking at the that. And that's what they're judging. They're not judging you. It has nothing to do with you. They don't know you. They see your name and maybe your phone number or an email address. But they don't know you. They don't know what happened when you were 11. They don't give a shit what happened when you were 19. They didn't come to your house that one snow day and help you shovel. They don't give a shit. They're just looking at their work or at your work and determining whether or not they can make money off of it. Or if you're self-publishing and you're putting your stuff out there, you might not get a lot of views right away. You know, the first 2 to 3 days of sales are usually the best day of sales for an early author early in their career. The first big initial surge and spike in marketing is the first couple days. And your first initial surge might not be great. It might not be 0, but it might not be like 300. It could be. Who knows? We don't know. That's why we try. But you got to stop thinking about the judgment that's holding you back and think about where it is you're trying to go. Think about your goal. Because if you want to stop every time somebody's critical or judgy or could be judgy or could reject you, you're going to have a hell of a time going forward. Because I got to be honest, people will judge you every second, not because they're assholes, but because that's just what social media has bred us to do. We weren't always this judgmental. We used to be supportive. We put men on the moon, for fuck's sake. But now look at us. We get real cranky about like tweets. Work hard every time you can as best you can. 2, don't compare yourself to other people. Be in it for you. Be in it for your goal. 3, Don't worry about being judged. Just do the best you can. Produce the best you can. And some people are going to judge it no matter what. And even if they do judge it, that doesn't automatically mean that all judgment's bad. Some people might judge it and go, oh, that's fucking rad. You got to let them, you got to take that chance. Those are the 3 habits people should develop. And I hope you develop them too. Lord knows I need to. I struggle with those last 2, man. Oh, we're working on those hard. All right, on we go. Now I'm going to drink more water. Are there any questions from anybody in chat? I kind of want to ASMR my drinking now, just to really stick it to the people who complain about me drinking on camera. Oh, well, what are we going to do? All right. Questions in chat? No? We good? All right. I got to tell you, there's a couple hellacious questions coming. Strap in. Here we go. Question number 4. What are pixels? Do I need to use them? Okay. This is one of those things where I make this face. If you've ever talked to me, if you've ever been in a conference call with me, and you see me make this face where I'm just stunned, you know that face? That's the face I make when I read this question. Pixels. I don't mean resolution. That's not what we're talking about. There's a method in marketing, whether it's book marketing, product marketing, general tracking, where you embed a piece of code into a website or into a blog post or into something where data is passed through this little piece of code, this little pixel, it's called, because it's supposed to be small, like a pixel is. And for instance, it's how Google ads in things, in pages, track things. It's not necessarily a very current model. It's a little old-fashioned relative. I mean, when I say old-fashioned, I mean it's 5 to 10 years old. But it's still the predominant way that recipe blogs track things. It's still incredibly popular and still widely done. It's a little old-fashioned. There are newer, edgier, marketing, sexier ways to get that idea across. But it's out there. You can see it. You can Google it. But do you, someone writing a book, need to worry about that? No. God, no. No. There are so many other ways to market your book. There are so many other ways to take advantage of algorithm, that take advantage of community, that take advantage of decent ethical behavior, that take advantage of your skill set and your strengths, as opposed to being overly reliant on a piece of coding that may or may not work and may or may not be blocked by an ad blocker, or picked up by a script blocker, or picked up by malware, because some sites interpret that kind of thing as malware. So pixels are embedded ways of tracking marketing data and reader retention, like the number of times the cursor stays on the page or how long the page stays open or something like that. And it's nice, but if you're talking about this in lieu of, I don't know, finishing your goddamn draft, you're just stalling. You don't need to worry about this. Do you need to use them? No. Can you use it? Sure. Is it worth your time? No, but you can totally do it. Nothing stopping you, but there's so many other better ways for you to spend your time and effort and attention. First and foremost being, how about you finish your book? Second then being, how about you market it in a way that plays to your strengths, as opposed to just doing what all the recipe blogs are doing. Do your own thing, carve your own way. It requires a little bit of courage, requires a little bit of organization. It's not exactly the fast track anywhere, but it's going to be more worthwhile in the long run. So no, I don't think you need to worry about pixels. It's just, I don't know, this question was brought up to me and I laughed because I haven't thought about pixel embedding marketing in years. Not since I crashed my last blog trying to do it myself. It's just not worth it. Nah, don't sweat it. Go finish your book. Question number 5. You argue against MPOV, that's multiple points of view. You argue against multiple points of view a lot. It's true, I do. If you go read today's blog over on Medium, that's johnhelpsyouwritebetter.medium.com, there's a whole post today about where I argue about MPOV. So I argue about MPOV a lot. Is there ever a time where MPOV, multiple points of view, is the best choice? Yes. Yes, it's not an all or nothing thing. Sometimes it is the best fit tool. When is that? Here is an example. When I have a story, no matter how big it is, I don't care if it takes place on multiple continents, I don't care if it takes place in a city block. It's not about the size of the story. The reason why I want multiple points of view is because each of those points of view is distinct. Not just like in terms of their job in the story or their gender or their age or their name or some other cosmetic superficial shit. I mean the genuine experience of the character and the genuine way they look through their life and view the world so that I can express it to the reader is different from one another. So it's like this. If we were going to tell a generational story, right? Where it's the story of 3 eras of family, grandparents, parents, and children, let's say. All right, pretty straightforward, simple generational storytelling. The plot they face might be the same, just in 3 different eras, right? 2 people coming together, starting a family, not having a lot of money, having to make sacrifices, having to struggle, but finally paying off. Straightforward, nice, neat, and clean. Start with the grandparents, show their struggles relative to their time, relative to their social environment, relative to their economic status, all that. Pass it on to their kids. So now we're at the parents, the middle generation, where we have 2 different views because they're influenced by the past. They're influenced by those grandparents. But they're different because now the social things are different. The economics are different. Their own individual people are different. They're doing the same stuff. They're following the same plot. But I need those 4 views, whether it's, just 2 partner A and partner B, and then partner A and partner B for the grandparents. Maybe we should call them A and B for grandparents, C and D for parents, and E and F for the kids, let's say. And each of these 6 people, A, B, C, D, E, and F, are all different from each other for any number of reasons. It's not the reasons that matter, it's the view those reasons provide that matters. So I would use MPOV when I'm trying to give you like multiple different lenses. Look here, look there. Come at it this way, come at it this way, come at it that way. That's when you use multiple point of view. You don't just dust it off because you've got a fighter and a wizard and a rogue and, everybody's doing a different job in the story, but they're all sort of fundamentally stubbly, grizzled badasses with snark. That's not enough of a distinction. Oh, I'm snarky with a bow and I'm snarky with daggers. Good for you. I'm happy for you. That's nice. But that's not enough justification to get into multiple points of view. Your point of view needs to be different from your other point of view. And I don't just mean, well, it's different because it's a different person. I mean different. Different people feel differently about things. You watching this or listening to this, if you have a best friend or a sibling relatively close to you in age, right? You and that other person, I don't care who they are, you and that other person might have had some similar experiences, gone through the same stuff, but you are vastly different people. That's what I'm talking about. If you have a coworker, you and your coworker do the same job more or less. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. But the 2 of you are different people, and you approach it although you're doing the same mechanical task, you're different people approaching life in different ways. That's the whole reason to use a point of view at all, because you want to offer a lens to the reader to see the world in a way that is not the reader's normal way of seeing things, to get them to think, to get them to consider what life is like beyond their blinders and their tunnel vision. That's what I'm going for here. That's when MPOV is the best choice. I know people are going to use it for fantasy. They're going to see like how a story in third person suddenly jumps following two characters, and they cut over there and follow different characters, and they'll swear up and down, oh my God, it's MPOV. It's not. It's just third person omniscient or third person limited with a couple jumps. But they won't make that distinction. Just because. Use points of view like lenses. Like going to the optometrist, and they put those little flippy glass things, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I'm talking about? That's what we're talking about here. Lining up that vision, clarifying it so people can see things in a different way. That's what we're aiming for with MPOV. That's when I would use it. If my story doesn't benefit from having those lenses, I wouldn't use MPOV. I just wouldn't use it. It's a tool I wouldn't need at the time. That's when I would use it. Great question. Love that question. On to the next. Oh my God, a spicy one, but it's gentle. Oh, what are we going to do? We're going to drink loudly into the microphone is what we're going to do. And then we're going to have gentle advice. Convince me to be more active on social media. Whew. All right, here we go. If you want to sell better, if you want to do better, if you have goals that, as a writer, that are based on sales or based on money or based on number of people who bought your book or based on the size of your community or whatever, if you have any kind of number, population, quantity goals like that, not everybody does, but if you have goals like that, you're going to need to be on social media. Not just rolling out, buy my shit posts over and over and over again, but to genuinely be accessible on social media in a way where people can interact or react rather than just act. We don't want to just dispense sales links, right? Because that's impersonal. I get that shit in spam all the time. You want to be a person. You want to put the social in social media. You got to be interactive. You got to be dynamic. You got to have a brain in your head and use it. If you are looking for a way to grow as a business end as an author, because being an author, whether you're traditionally published, self-published, or anything else, is a business. It doesn't always stay that way. Sometimes it's more production just in terms of writing. But eventually, if you're trying to sell your book or market your book or get people to buy your book or whatever, it becomes a business, especially if you're the kind of writer who wants to do this full time and not have that day job and not have any other source of income and still have to figure out how to pay your bills and how to feed your family and how to make sure that you have clean clothes. Like, if you're going to make this your thing and you're going to commit to this, well, you got to be more active on social media. If you're disinterested in your goal, if you're disinterested in, engaging in that way, then you got to live with the consequences. You don't want to put the work in, you're not going to reach that goal. There's no other way to do it. You cannot, in this day and age, reach the level of success most people say they want without some kind of social media component. It might not just be Twitter. It might be Facebook. It might be ads. It might be Instagram. It might be YouTube. It might be Discord. It might be speaking engagements. It might be blog posts. It might be something. But there's always going to be a social element. And if you're sitting there listening to this going, I just don't I don't feel comfortable doing that. I don't really know what to do. That's okay. But part of our success means we have to push past our comfort zone's boundaries sometimes. You don't have to be brilliant at it, but you do have to try. And you can get better, and you can find ways to work that social media presence in ways that are congruent with who you are or congruent with whatever you're working with or whatever skill level or comfort you have. If you're, let's say, genuinely paralyzed with anxiety, you can find a strategy for social media that doesn't inflame it too much. There's no zero inflammation engagement with social media because you're going to end up talking to a person. But you can find ways to play to your strengths that don't hurt too much. But there's no pain-free way to do this. You have to know that going in. If that's going to be a deal breaker for you, then it's a deal breaker for you, and I wish you well in whatever it is you choose to do. But if you're trying to make this a business, you're trying to sell to the degree you want to sell and accomplish what you want to accomplish, you need that social experience. You need that social media. You need to make that effort. If you're thinking, well, back in the day, they didn't have to do that, because back in the day, it was a different world. It's not the same world. It's not going to be that same world again. You need to be comfortable talking about your book. You need to be comfortable talking about yourself. You need to be comfortable communicating with others. It doesn't mean you need to be the most gregarious, outgoing, like super extrovert or whatever. But it does mean you need a level of comfort and familiarity with how to communicate with others, how to listen, how to effectively listen, how to communicate honestly. You need to be able to do these things so that you're not just throwing out sales links or, making a big production about it and then, oh, by the way, I guess you could buy my book if you want. Like, nobody wants a martyr. Nobody wants a complainer. It's not the point. You need to use these tools for your benefit. That's what they're here for. If you don't want to benefit, don't use them. That's fine. Sometimes the best thing you can do is not engage in that way, but you got to temper your goal accordingly then, because you're cutting out your potential audience. You either got to find a different way to engage, which might mean more legwork for you, or you got to understand that by consciously not doing social media and being new at this. I'm not talking about somebody who's had 30,000 sales and then leaves Twitter. I'm talking about somebody who's just got their foot in the door. There's some expectation here. People expect you to have social media. The traditional publishing world is going to insist you have a social media presence. And they're going to be real mad as hell if all of a sudden you're like, well, I have an account, but I never use it. That's not going to fly. You're making your job harder. You're making their job harder. They're not interested in having their job be hard. They're doing the hard thing already by putting money behind it. They don't want to do that. Get on social media. Use it regularly. Not because it's enjoyable. I understand it's toxic. I understand there are Nazis. I understand there's a million billion shitty people. I'm not asking you to go out there and knock skulls. I'm asking you to just do your best to communicate and scream out into what feels like a void for the first, I don't know how long, until all of a sudden you realize there are people island to island and you're just hurling bottles with messages out there. You can do this. Remember your goal, and this is a substantial step towards that goal. All right? Give it a try. Give it 30 days. Give it 30 days of legit, serious effort and see where you get. All right? Great question. Are there any other questions in chat? Oh, man. Anybody? Anything? Have I had my tea? I love you guys. I have had my tea today. It was this delightful peach blossom. It was really nice. It wasn't terribly strong. It was really subtle, but it was a nice change of pace. I made about 3/4 of a teapot, and most of it's gone. I was going to have, it was very nice. It was a very gentle, can tea be gentle? It was a very gentle kind of like, It probably would actually go really well if I put fruit juice in with it and kind of went for like an Arnold Palmer kind of vibe. It was real good. It was real good. I'd get it again. It was part of the bonus pack when I ordered a bunch of tea from a couple months ago. It's pretty good. Real fragrant when you steep it. I liked it. So yes, I've had my tea, but now I'm chugging water like you'd not believe. All right. Great question. Shall we go on? Oh my God, look at all the spice. So much spice. Oh God, you think it was like taco night. So much spice. Why are most first books not profitable? 2 reasons. Well, there's a lot of reasons. I'm going to pick 2, okay? 2 reasons. 1, most of the time, first-time authors don't have the machinery in place, so they're shelling out a lot to get started. So they end up in a hole. They didn't know how much to expect. They didn't know how much to spend. So they spent it because they needed it done. They needed to get a cover. They didn't know how much a cover was going to be. They needed an editor. They didn't know how much an editor was going to be. They needed to pay for shipping on things. They didn't account for exactly how much shipping was going to be. Stuff like that. They knew there would be an expense, but not the specifics of that expense. So they dug themselves into a little bit of a hole, and it becomes harder then to come out of that hole and then start trending towards the positive in terms of sales. This is true whether you're self-publishing or whether you're traditionally publishing. In traditional publishing, moreover, most first books are not profitable because there's not the expense in marketing and shipping and printing and all that far outweighs the amount of sales that are expected. Like, they spent money on you. You're not supposed to earn out right away. It's part of the process. It's part of why the process sucks, but it's part of the process. But for an author, most first books aren't profitable because you're still getting your feet under you. You're still learning and developing and growing that audience that will make subsequent future books down the road profitable. It might take a while. It might be 2 books, 3 books, 4 books, 5 books, 6 books even, before you really start seeing substantial, consistent progress and substantial, consistent profit. You can kind of argue that your quality as a writer is somewhat matched with your profitability, but that's not because profitability determines quality. It's that as you get better as a writer, profit naturally follows because earning money on your work is a natural consequence of doing better work. When you were brand new at something, you didn't do so great at it just because you were new at it. But over time, if you stuck with it and you kept doing it, you will get better at a thing. That's just how doing stuff works. But most first books are not profitable entirely because people don't know what to expect and they don't have the machinery in place. The other reason, they go too far. They overcompensate for what I just said. They give me one of those, I know, every time I talk about marketing or the machinery of publishing or getting an editor and stuff, and they overcompensate. So they throw even more money into ads, but they don't do well because it's disorganized. It's scattered rather than focused. But don't expect your first book to be profitable. There's a question in chat. Is that why a certain percentage of the advance is never seen? Yes. Because they're spending X amount on you. Yes, that is exactly, yeah. So what they're talking about is this. You get an advance. Let's do nice, easy, round numbers just for the sake of me doing math on the fly, okay? Let's suppose you get $9,000. That $9,000 that the traditional publisher gave you, because that's where advances come from, the traditional publisher says you need to earn $9,001 in sales before we start giving you a profit. But they're not giving you that $9,000 all at once. Here's a prop, right? They're not giving you $9,000 all at once. They're going to give you probably $3,000. They're going to give you $3,000 when you sign. And then that goes away because you're going to take that. And then they're going to give you $3,000 or so on the day the book is finalized and locked. And they're going to give you $3,000, the last of your advance, the day the book is released out into the world. That's it. You're not going to see any money then, not until you make $3,000, but until you make $9,001, because that's their estimation of what they expect that book to bring in at minimum. So you're looking at somebody with those big, giant, fancy advances. Oh, $250,000, because that came up in that Penguin Random House lawsuit. Yeah, it's $250,000, probably split 4 or 5 times. But even if you were to do the math, because they get tricky. These dinosaurs do. They get tricky and they say, well, we promised 250, but if you do the math, you're only getting 230. Why? Because they are holding some of it back because they're counting your advance into your marketing budget. That's the new common thing. Or they're counting your advance into your publishing distribution sales. Like, it's going to cost us $10,000 to print this book. We're going to take that out of your advance. Why? Because they want to. Or some places tack it to the front of your advance and go, we'll give you 9, but we're not going to start paying out till you get to 10. Because we're spending $1,000 extra on top of the advance. That's not common, but it does happen. But yeah, first books aren't profitable based on the division of whatever advance you get, based on the amount of money spent to turn the machine on and turn it into action. And they're also not profitable generally because the audience isn't there yet. Most of the time, any series does okay for a first book. Not great, but not profitable. Don't confuse profitable for widely read, or you can even be a bestseller and not be profitable. It's not about the number of people. It's just about the amount of money that gets trafficked. It can be well received, but not profitable. But most audiences don't really groundswell until a second or a third book. And then that's where your sales start to overall climb. You raise your sales average, and you really start to see growth as a commodity producer for a traditional publisher. But don't ever expect your first book to be profitable, because if it is, that's 1 in a million, man. Go get a lottery ticket and a chocolate cake, because that's a victory day. Don't plan on that first book being profitable, but you're going to learn more about how the business works with that first book than you will with your 50th. Absolutely. But don't expect a profit on your first book. Please don't hang like serious hats on that hook. Oh my God, I need my first book to be profitable because I risked everything for it. I've seen people do it. I've done it. It's a mistake, man. Don't. If it is profitable, great, good for you, but don't make it a thing. Don't put all your eggs in that basket. Put your eggs in the basket of, I'm going to write the best book I can, and then the best book I can after that too. That's where your eggs should go. That's where your basket should be. That's your plan A. No plan B. Just all plan A. Great question. Question number 8. Do I have to say it's my debut novel in my query letter? Now, here's how this came up. Apparently, there is a segment of the querying population. I don't know them, but there's a segment of the querying population that believes if you say it's your debut novel, that who's ever reading your query is going to think you're an idiot. I don't know. I'm pretty sure people are going to think you're an idiot, whether it's your debut novel or not. Like, people are free to just make that decision whenever. But some people think that by announcing that it's your debut novel, you are going to get negative rather than preferential treatment. I don't know. But when it comes down to whether or not you have to say it, there is no rule that says you have to say it's your debut novel, even if it is. Does it matter? Maybe to some readers of query letters sometimes. Maybe it matters. Maybe, it'll be that little extra nudge to get you up over the line if you're this much short. Maybe. But I would not count on it carrying a lot of weight all the time universally. But you don't have to say it's your debut novel. You can. Most people are very proud of it. That's why they say it. Most people are like, oh my God, I wrote this book. It's the first time I'm doing this. This is great. Woo. And, but good for them for doing it. But at the same time, you don't have to. There's no rule. Great question. On we go. Oh, in book marketing, what is a tripwire offer? Okay. In order to explain this for books, I have to talk about not book things for a second. It'll make sense. So a tripwire offer for anything is an offer that's made after you've already committed to a first offer. So let's do an example. You're buying, I don't know. You're buying fast food. You're buying, I don't know, cheeseburger and fries from wherever, doesn't matter. And you go and you're using the menu or whatever, like you're doing the app, you're Instacarting or DoorDashing or whatever, or you're using their specific app and you're selecting your burger and your fries and what goes on it and all that stuff. But, after you complete that, you send that item to your cart. All of a sudden you get this little notification. People who also bought, burger and fries also bought a cold frosty beverage. That offer for the cold frosty beverage is being made after you already made a decision about a first purchase. That's a tripwire. A tripwire offer is an offer for a thing made after you've already begun to accept the offer for something else. In book marketing, it's the idea of, hey, do you want to sign up for my newsletter? Because that way you'll get informed as to when I release my book, or you can get pre-release sales or something like that. And then while that window pops up, while that sales funnel funnels, you throw a second pop-up in there like, hey, did you also know that if you go to this other website and use my promo code, you'll get 20% off this other thing of which I am an affiliate. It's a way of daisy chaining offers together. It's a way of connecting and keeping people engaged in multiple sales funnels. Is it ethical? It can be. Is it unethical? It can be. What's the benefit of it? Well, you've already got people in a purchasing mood, in a mood to say yes to things. You can capitalize on that and have them say yes to more things. You can package things together. Your cold frosty beverage goes very nicely with your burger and fries. So now instead of only selling burgers and fries, you're also selling beverages. So you're increasing your sales. There's a lot of utility to it, but for a lot of people, it can feel a little skeevy. It's sort of like hey, I know you're already buying a thing. You want to buy one more. Some people like that. Some people don't. But it's important to know that you're going to see this when you go out there, because Amazon's doing it to you all the time. When you buy stuff and you scroll down a little bit and it says people who looked at this product also looked at these other things, or people who purchased one thing have also looked at these other things. Streaming video does it for you too. People who watch this show also liked this other show. It's to get you to stay involved in the sales funnel, or stay involved in the viewing platform, or stay involved making purchases. If you have multiple books, a tripwire offer keeps people buying books. Is it worth a try? Sure. Will it work? Maybe. Give it a shot. Who knows? You don't have to do it. It's just one model. It's one way. It's one thing as part of marketing. It's a great question. Next. Are there any more questions from chat? We are marching along. We're doing great. Questions? No? Yes? I'm counting the 7-second delay on my fingers. All right. On we go. Man, more spice. Question number 10. Are newsletter swaps still relevant for authors? Which genres get the most traction from participating? Okay. Do we all know what a newsletter swap is? A newsletter swap is where person A contributes to person B's newsletter, either taking it over entirely for an issue or contributing something substantial to it. This also has a lot of different names. An Instagram takeover, guest blog post, that kind of thing. Guest VJ or guest radio host on your particular radio station. I'm in the studio taking over for a day playing my favorite tracks, that kind of thing. Those are all different kinds of swaps. Are they still a thing? Yes. They're a thing in the sense that they're still being done. Are they the new hot trendy thing that they used to be? No. They're pretty common practice now. What genres receive the most traction from participating in swaps? Well, I hate to tell you this. It's pretty narrow because it's always been narrow, because a lot of genres don't have the same kind of community feel that other genres do. For instance, romance is a genre that really benefits from newsletter swaps of all kinds, because there's sort of an unspoken agreement in romance that we all know what we're getting into when we read romance novels. You know, we might kind of be catty, we might kind of be petty as individual authors competing against one another, but we all know what we're getting into. We're all looking at like people taking their pants off and kissing in their book. Like, we all know what we're getting into. And we don't really have too many, hopefully, not too many illusions about it. So in romance in particular, you can get a lot of traction from that because you're experiencing a lot of overlap of interest, but not necessarily overlap in people, which means, hey, I like romance novels, and these other people also like romance novels, but we're not the same people. You're not marketing to the same person 5 times in 5 different newsletters. Another genre that gets good traction from a swap, and you might not know this, middle grade and young adult, just not too genre-y fiction. No far out sci-fi, no far out fantasy, just straight fiction. Does real well middle grade and young adult level swaps, because most of the time the people to whom you're swapping are the parents of people who read middle grade and young adult, and they're always looking for more books to put in front of their younger readers. Genres that don't get a lot of traction from this, you're going to be shocked for sure. Sci-fi fantasy does not swap well. This might have patriarchal reasons. It might just be they've always been the more stubborn genre, kind of drag their feet, do it the old-fashioned way, kind of a vibe there. Or it might just be too broad and nobody's really on the same page, because once you find out you read this particular flavor of sci-fi or fantasy, you tend not as a reader to stray from it unless you have no choice. If you find out you like, urban fantasy with magical detectives, you tend to read urban fantasy with magical detectives, and you don't go wandering too deep into like hard military sci-fi. A genre will benefit from a swap. You'll get traction with a swap if there's a lot of looseness. That's not the right word, but it's the best word I can think of. There's a lot of sharing and cooperation between authors. It's a more congenial atmosphere. If you find your genre to be very rigid, very inflexible, very unwelcoming to people, a lot of like, this is mine and these are my boundaries and I stay here, versus, whatever, oh, golly gee, we're all authors just trying to do the best. The minute we start seeing rigidity, things like swaps won't work. Because if let's say you cold pitch a swap, hey, can I guest blog for you? Hey, can I take over your newsletter for a day? You'll probably get not a lot of response, if any, or you'll just get rejected, because the more rigid those authors become, the more they see anybody coming in as attacking what they have as though it's finite. It's not finite, but they'll see it that way. Oh my God, you're going to come in here and poach my readers. No, but that's the mindset when a swap doesn't work. So are they a thing? Yeah. Are they relevant? Relevant's a loaded word there. They're useful, but again, I would not put all my eggs in this basket. Do one, try one, see what it does for you, but don't come to rely on it as your, I want to say, as your sole method for getting stuff done. As a lark, as a whatever, let me help a friend out, I'll write them a blog post so that they don't have to worry about it. Sure, as a freelance writing exercise, fantastic. But in terms of a bread and butter approach to gaining more viewers or readers, I would not come to rely on it very frequently. Good question, though. Question 11. How does watching a TV show or movie help me write better? All right, first, I want to take you all the way back to question 1 with people watching, because a lot of my answer is going to be there too. It's the idea that the things you see can give you some insight into how you would write them. One of the best things you can do when watching a TV show or movie is put the captions on. See the dialogue, see the tags for things, the descriptor tags, the wet tentacles squelching or whatever Stranger Things delighted in, you know, or creepy music or you know, angry whatever, and use those as part of your framework to figure out what it is people are trying to say. And if you agree with it, and if that scene accomplishes those goals, they're useful blueprint tools. Watching a TV show, watching a movie, something like that, and seeing these things in their components. Oh, that's the plot. Okay, that's the main character. This is the main character's arc. Oh, that's the opposition. That's the antagonist. This is an action scene. This is a dialogue scene. Oh, that's a redemption story. Oh, that's a story with multiple setbacks. Being able to put your finger on the kind of thing in the story that it is. What's this scene? What's this guy doing? Not just guessing like who the murderer is 6 minutes into the mystery. Thanks, Mom, for teaching me how to do that. But being able to identify the components of story while engaging with a story is useful, because then you can use that as a reference point in your own work, not to like clone it, but to be like, okay, so I've seen a couple different TV shows and they all handle comedy beats like this. So not that I want to copy their joke word for word, but if I use the same kind of setup, it should more or less work, right? Oh, excuse me. I need more water. But looking at a TV show or movie and taking it apart and finding its blueprint is incredibly useful, because you see, rather than just hear these abstract exercises or these abstract examples detached and clinical, you see them in practice. You can watch your movie and go, oh, it's been 20 minutes in my 90-minute movie. This must be where the plot shows up. I'm going to have a character tell me what the plot is. Oh, this is the 43rd minute in a 95-minute action film. We're probably going to have a complication with the antagonist right about now. Part of that's being able to spot the expectation, whether or not it's subverted. But part of that's also being able to identify, like, okay, this is how this story works. I can take it apart. If I wanted to iterate it on my own or make something similar, I could follow the blueprint. You have to learn the blueprint. You have to learn the recipe. You have to learn the sheet music before you can improv, before you can tailor that dinner recipe to make it your own. You probably want to try and follow most or all of the recipe first, because you've never done it before. Once you do it, you realize, like, okay, next time I know I got to add more seasoning. Next time, maybe put a little bit more liquid in. Next time, cook it a little bit longer. You only learn those things after you experience it in its pieces. You only get better as a writer absorbing material once you know you're absorbing it and not just watching it because everybody else is watching it. This is why something like Patreon, where watch movies, write better, is like the main thing I do. You sit down and you just watch a movie and we take it apart. Here's the main character. This is where the plot is. Why doesn't this beat work? What is this going on? Why is this person saying this? This should happen, not that. You know, take it apart. Being able to take it apart is the most valuable skill you'll have, because you'll be able to apply it to your own work when it's time to take it apart. That's why it's fundamental. That's why it's so important. Great question. Oh my God. 12th question. Oh. Gentle advice. I'm going to get one more mouthful of water. Gentle advice. Why are there some people in writing spaces who just want to complain? Oh, okay. I don't know how to tell you this, but some people in some writing spaces, they don't really want to be a writer. They want to be what I usually call writer adjacent. They like the atmosphere. They like seeing stories. They like talking about stories. They like seeing people make an effort. But for a couple different reasons, which I'm about to get into, they themselves don't want to write. They want all the success from it, but they're not really interested in putting in the work, maybe because they don't believe in themselves, or maybe because they have a very narrow view of what success is or what their talent is. And they have a lot of limiting beliefs that they don't really test, and a lot of expectations they're not really willing to challenge. So it's just easier for them to complain. Also, it's been likely their experience that if they complain, somebody will make it simpler for them, or somebody will do it for them, or they'll be excluded or excused from it. The problem is that when you're making a book, you can't be excused from the writing you have to do. You don't get a note and get out of gym class on this one. You know, every week I answer questions here and elsewhere, and the people who come to me and then just tell me how hard it is, like, okay, the sky is blue, and most people don't like wearing pants. What other obvious statements do you want me to make? Some people complain because it's easier for them. They're comfortable complaining. They're comfortable living down to the expectation or down to the fear. Some people just like to complain because it's a way they can always contribute to conversation, and they're plagued by, hero syndrome or protagonist syndrome, where they think they're the main character and it's always them and their opinion always matters, and they haven't learned to shut the fuck up and really learn to be a part of a group. Complaining is a habit. I know, because I'm a very vocal complainer. You don't get my complaining here because I try not to complain too much at my job. But when the camera goes off and the microphone goes away, I complain just like everybody else. Oh my God, this is a pain in the ass. My neighbor's weird. Their kids shriek a lot. Like, I complain about things. I'm a, generally unhappy person working really hard to be happier. So that means there's going to be some complaining. But people in writing spaces who complain more than write, they're not interested in the work. They just want the end result with the minimal amount of effort. How can I get my reward the easy way? And there isn't. They want the magic bullet. They want the simple solution. They want things that don't exist. So they complain, because maybe if they complain, they'll get their way. Because nobody's ever stopped to tell them that they've got to work hard, or that they're not as special as somebody else told them, and that things are unfair and that things are hard and you got to put the work in. Complaining's easy. It's a habit. You can train it. You can do better. You can gird yourself against some of it. There's some of it that's going to be because the world's imperfect. But a lot of writers get complaining because it's a lot easier to complain than put in the work, or it's less challenging. It's less risky to complain. I can complain and someone sympathizes. I can complain and maybe something changes and I benefit. But if I don't complain, that means I got to sit down and do this work. That means I got to sit down and confront my fear, or confront my doubt, or confront my sense that maybe this ain't so great. That's not really what some people want to do, so they don't do it. So they complain. It's hard because sometimes the complainiest people are good people. They're nice people. And we don't want to boot them out of our spaces. We don't want to, upset them even if they get on our last nerve, every 30 seconds of the day. But yeah, sometimes you got to tell somebody, hey, if you're not happy here for whatever reason, there's the door. I hope you find someplace where you are happy. And you just got to let them go. Just got to let them go. It's hard, but sometimes that's what's going to be best for everybody. But they complain because they're scared. They complain because they're unhappy. They complain because they can't seem to shortcut their way to where they want to be, and they're disinterested or worried or unable to do the work. That's why they complain. Great question. are there any other questions? Any other anything? Chat? Anybody? Because I'm going to drink water, then we're going to go to the outro and move on. Because it's late. Now, what you can't tell... All right, somebody's going to notice this. So, this is the massive black and blue mark I got donating. I had to do some blood work. And they like leached half a dozen vials out of me. This is not like me doing any dumb shit. This is just the girl like took an ice pick to my vein trying to get this shit going. So that's why I'm all bruised. That's why I've been like this all night. It's because my arm hurts. I'm fine. I'm straight. It's cool. I'll pee in a cup if you want me to. Yeah, it really like it was awful. I was in there for like 45 minutes. She was trying to like, and I made the mistake of offering to do it myself. I have experience in that. And she did not find that particularly funny. I did. But I'm the one sitting in the chair like this going like, any day you want to, get up in here, go right ahead. And eventually, 1, 2, 3 tries. Eventually she got the 6 vials that she wanted or needed or whatever. Yeah, what are you going to do? I'm good now for another couple months. Other questions, issues, etc. That really hurts. I got to turn my arm this way. Anything else? Shall we get out of here? Yeah, I think we should. Let's go to the outro. I just want to thank everybody for being here. It was really fantastic. Thank you so much for this. It really made my night. It made my day. I was very happy for this. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for your questions. Thanks for letting me talk about all different kinds of marketing things and writing things. If you enjoyed this, if you like this, if you're curious about the new Patreon tier, jump over to patreon.com/John Helps You Write Better. It'll have all those details, and you can get all different kinds of things, including but not limited to access to the Discord community where I answer questions and stuff all damn day. So I would love to have you over there for as little as $2 a month. If you're wanting to book an appointment, if you're wanting to get more involved with your writing and do bigger, better, badder things, JohnHelpsYouWriteBetter.com. Absolute best place you can go to get everything you need, including a free 30-minute appointment. Just go give it a try. I will talk to you soon. The next time I will see you, the next time I'll be right here in your eyes and in your ears, will be on Monday, August 29th. I don't know the topic yet. Stay tuned for that. Until then, my friends, all power to all people. Take care of yourself. Take care of the people around you. I love you, and I'll talk to you very, very soon. See ya!